Welcome to this week's Word of the Week. This week's word pulls together two previous words of the week, tonality and arpeggio, because this week's word is chord. The definition we're using for a chord is when three or more notes are played at the same time. We're going to say that two notes played at the same time is called an interval, with one exception, which is a fifth chord or power chord, which we'll look at a bit later. So, let's look at a major chord first of all. We've picked C major, and we've seen these before when we looked at tonality. A major chord has the first, the third, and the fifth degree of the scale played at the same time. And because we've picked C major, we've got C, E, and G. So let's have a quick listen to that. Now these notes can be played in any order. They can be played C, E, G, E, G, C, G, C, E, which would all just be called different inversions of the same chord, but that's a future word of the week. But when you've got the first, third and fifth degree of the scale played at the same time, then we call that a major chord. If we do that with a minor chord, however, or a minor scale, then we end up with the third degree being a semitone lower. So in this case, instead of having C, E, G, we've got C, E flat, G, which is the black note to the left of E on a keyboard instrument. So C minor chord we've heard before, and it sounds like this. So that's C minor when the third is a semitone lower. Now another chord you'd need to know, especially for your GCSE exam, would be a C7 chord, or any type of 7 chord for that matter, which has the first, third and fifth for a major chord, of course, always there still, but we add in the flattened seventh degree of the scale, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then take it down a semitone. So with a C7 chord, that would be B flat, 1, 3, 5, flat 7, C, E, G, B flat. And that sounds like this. And sometimes we'd need to play that differently on a piano, so let's have a look at that. With a 7 chord played on the piano, it's more common that rather than having it on the top, the 7 on the top as we saw previously, you would just simply take your tonic that you've already had from earlier, move it down a whole tone. So take it down a semitone, we get a B, which is a major 7 chord, which is not what we're after. Take it down another semitone, so it's a full tone. Then we get to a B flat, which gives us B flat as the 7, E, which is the third, and G, which is the fifth. So let's have a listen to that. A 7 chord. So with this easier way to play it, you won't actually play the tonic, the C. You'll simply play the B flat below that, miss out the tonic, play the E and the G. So you won't actually have 7, 3, 5 without the 1. Let's look now at the power chord, the exception to the interval rule we were saying earlier. We've got in this case a C5 chord, a power chord, and you can see that it just has two notes. We've got C, which is the first degree of the scale, and G, which is the fifth degree of the scale, hence the name C5. And you can see that in the notation as well. The advantage of a C5 or a power chord is that it's neither major nor minor. So it allows you to play alongside any other instrument playing a major or minor chord, and you don't have to be sure which one is which. Very common on guitars in rock music because of the ambiguous sound, and of course it's called a power chord because it does sound very powerful, especially when played on a guitar. So let's have a listen to a C5 chord. So there you go, there's a C5 chord which has just the first and the fifth degree of the scale. So that's our word of the week, chord, when three or more notes are played at the same time.